Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Well, good afternoon or good evening, depending where you are. Welcome to today's live lesson. It's an exciting one. Today, we're going to be looking at the topic of neighbours. We'll be talking about who they are, where they live. Do you know them? Do you like them? Vocabulary, some idioms, some listening today. Also, some jokes, a bit of fun and games. It's all waiting in a few moments. But before we begin, let's start with a bit of this.
Go get your tea, go get your coffee. It's time to join the Keep Speaking Academy. It's time for a live lesson. Fun games and idioms. Go get your tea, go get your coffee. It's time to join the Keep Speaking Academy. It's time for a live lesson.
Great. I hope you've got your tea. I've got my coffee and I'm getting ready for Christmas already. So listen, nice to see all of you. Welcome we've got, that's very small, isn't it? Why is that? Let's try and make that a little bit bigger. Hello there, Abdel Jalil. Nice to see you from Belgium. Great. Good. Who else is here? Let's have a look who's in here. Joyce, Nagaru, great. 12th of November. Oh, I can't allow you to speak today, but you can practice on your own and practice and see. Esther is here. We've got Vesna all the way from Serbia. Nice to see you here. Caroline from Brittany. Lovely. Alena from Belarus. Julia from Myanmar, as always. Great to see you here. Carlos from Sevilla. I hope you're keeping safe, Carlos. Fajana from Bangladesh, nice to see you again here as well as always. North Macedonia, welcome, nice to see you here. We've got Maxim from the Ukraine. It is amazing, Leah, how many people are here from how many countries? From so many countries, and you are from Slovakia. That's lovely to see you here. Great. Good. So listen, guys, welcome all of you. Lovely to see all of you here. If you're new, today's live lesson, well, it's going to last about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but it'll be with some breaks and some different activities to keep you engaged, hopefully. As I mentioned, we are talking about the topic of neighbours. Now, this is a very common IELTS topic. Of course, it's also a daily conversation topic. I mean, if you're going to be talking with family and friends, sometimes we talk about neighbours. So we're going to look at the useful vocabulary, idioms today. We'll do some listening so you get the vocabulary in context and all of that, right? LKC says, what's the difference between neighbour and hometown? So neighbour is a person. It's the people. Hometown is a place. What you may be thinking, LKC, is neighbourhood. Neighbourhood, which is the place. And it's a smaller place where you live. It's a small area where you live. Your hometown is a much bigger area. So it depends what the examiner asks you. If they ask you about your neighborhood or your hometown. So listen carefully to your examiner. Always good advice to follow. To let you know what's happening, let me just explain today's lesson, the different activities we're going to do, and then you'll be able to follow a bit more clearly. I always have to lean at this point. Neighbours is the topic, living at number 40. That looks very Irish, that. Irish coloured doors. Nice. We'll begin today with a bit of vocabulary and just to build up some of the essentials that you need for this topic. I'm going to do a listening activity. And this will be to give you more of the language in context, but also to test your listening skills. I make it a bit more fun by doing a kind of a bingo activity. After that, we're going to be looking at idioms. In particular, well, what's that? We'll be finding out later what these idioms are. I'm going to ask you to guess. I've got a dad joke. A dad joke is a very bad joke because dads are notoriously bad at telling jokes, especially me. I've got an interview with a neighbour today, again, so you can hear about people talking about neighbours or their neighbourhood, maybe. And then we'll finally finish up on Kahoot, which is a fun game at the end to test your vocabulary. So stay awake. Stay with me. That's the message. Don't fall asleep in today's lesson. So there we are. Let me just check if you're all here and still wide awake and following me. Mohammed Reza, that is very, very, very kind of you. I'm not sure it's true, but it's very, very kind. Erwin says, that's our son's door in London. Yeah, it probably is. All the doors in London look a little bit like that, don't they? Samad from Bangladesh, nice to see you. Layla, as always, lovely to see you. Great to have you here. Okay. Lovely. Good. Get away from the comments. Let's get into the first activity. So the first activity actually is just a warm-up. It's a poll, right? I want to find out, do you know your neighbours? So just put your answer in the chat and then we can do it. I'm going to actually turn on a poll and I can share this with you. So as you put your answer in the chat, then yeah, you can type and give your answer. Arabic for all, you're late. Don't worry, only a few minutes. So let's have a look. Do you know your neighbours? And as you put your answer in the chat, then we can find out. So you can put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, or number 5. And let's see what you say. Caroline says just a little bit. Baby Song says yes, especially their cats. Yes, especially their cats. Yes, some of them. So that will be number 3, Marika. Tito Live, thank you very, very much. Nice. Paul says, yes, I do. So number 1, great. Yes, very well. So that'd be number 1. So start filling in your numbers and then we can see. Yes, but we don't talk much, says Natalia. Right, yes. So put in the numbers and we'll see. LKC, not much. We barely speak to each other. Yeah, I know what you mean. Iron says, my neighbours are 2 elderly people. Okay. So look at the answers and put in number 1, number 2, 3, or 4. And let's find out if you guys know your neighbours. Christina says, not at all. Okay. Dal says, yes, I do. If you put in the number, then it will come up in the screen up here. Ewen, Stella says, not quite. We urbanites keep distance. We urbanites. I love your English. That's very funny. Very, very nice. Yes, not at all. Yes, not all. Ah, Tizu. Yes, not all of them. So that's like some of them, right? Probably number 2 or number 3. It looks like number 3 is the most popular answer, right? Do you know your neighbours? Yes, some of them. And then closely following that is number 4. Not really, only 1 or 2. And I guess, you know, to some extent, it will depend on the neighbourhood where you live, right? Because like me, I live in the countryside. There's only a handful of neighbours here. There's 3 or 4. There's not that many. If you're living in a flat, slap bang in the city centre, you may know more of them, right? Or maybe less, because urbanites like to keep a distance, right? As you rightly said. Oh, so 3 and 4. Actually, number 1 is coming much, much stronger. Yes, all of them. Interesting, okay. Very, very interesting. Okay, so it seems that, yes, you know either all of your neighbours or some of them. So we're going to be talking about this. Today, we're going to be talking about neighbours. Let me just close that for the moment, if I can. Yeah, close just for the moment. Excellent. Good. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Let's begin. I'm going to start with the first thing that we mentioned, right? Start of this lesson, which is not doors, but vocabulary. So let's begin with vocabulary, and let me just share my screen with you up here. So, neighbours. The pronunciation in the UK is neighbour, neighbour. You'll notice in America, in the US, there's more of a neighbour, neighbour. It's very, very similar, but there is a bit of an R sound, a neighbour, neighbour. Whereas English, UK English, is with a schwa, neighbour, neighbour, neighbour. Stress on the first syllable, neighbour, my neighbour. The other difference, again, it's one of these American-British differences. We spell O-U-R. Americans just do O. It's a bit like favourite, neighbour, colour, right? All of these words. In the UK, we have the U in there. Okay. We can say, I don't have many neighbours. I don't know many of my neighbours. Interesting, even in British English, we pronounce the R if it links with a vowel, right? So if we say in British English, my neighbour is friendly, my neighbour is, riz, there's a R, my neighbour is. So although we say neighbour, if you're connecting with a vowel in the next word, we pronounce the R. My neighbour is, can you hear the R? My neighbour is friendly, right? So you will, even in British English, you will connect, you'll introduce the R if you have the next word with a vowel, right? So you will have that, my neighbour is friendly. So we pronounce the R in that case because we're linking it. My neighbour is friendly. As you mentioned earlier, somebody mentioned the difference between neighbourhood and neighbourhood. The neighbourhood, not the neighbourhood, the neighbourhood. Stress on the nay. Nay. Sounds like Dutch. Nay. A neighbourhood is a local area or community smaller than your hometown, right? Okay, neighbour. Good. So May says consonant to vowel linking. Yes, my neighbour is friendly. Yes, exactly. And here, because although it ends in a vowel ending, because it's a written R, we are pronouncing it. I don't know many of neighbours. I don't know. Oh, look, this has happened again. Why is this happening? It's all come up a bit too small. Lena, let me help you a little bit because this is a perfect opportunity to introduce this idea. I don't know many of my neighbours. You need to add my neighbours because they are your neighbours, not my neighbours, right? Excellent, nice, good. Collocations with neighbours, we can say next door neighbour. Okay, a bit more obvious. Next door neighbour, so literally the one living next door. If you remember at the very, very start, we have these houses. This is the next door neighbour. They live next door, literally next door neighbour. That's the closest neighbour. Even though the houses aren't joined, it's a next door neighbour. So I have two next door neighbours. Even though that neighbour, I'm pointing, their house is detached and it's 50 metres away, but it's still a next door neighbour, right? The houses don't have to be joined together. Next door neighbour, we can say, we'd say my next door neighbour, I think, my next door neighbour. We can say a close neighbour, neighbour, or a good neighbour. Yeah, he's a good neighbour. Can you say a bad neighbour? Yeah, bad neighbour. Good, bad, friendly. That's another one, right? He's a friendly neighbour. In fact, you can have lots of adjectives here. But there you go. Those are some common collocations we might have. Friendly neighbour, good neighbour. We would also say, she's been a good neighbour to me. So here we're talking over the years, over the last 5 years, she's been a good neighbour to me. You could say she is a good neighbour to me. She is a good neighbour to me. You could say that in the present, or you could say it in the present perfect, right? Both of those are correct. Slightly different meaning, different emphasis. You could say she's a good neighbour. She has been a good neighbor to me. To be good to someone, right? Notice that, to be good to someone. So you are friendly, helpful, to be good to someone. Listen to the sentence stress. She's been a good neighbor to me. She's been a good neighbor to me. So been a good neighbor to me. You get that stress in the sentence. She's been a good neighbor to me. Can you practice? She's been a good neighbor to me. Nice. Excellent. So, nice collocations we can use. Let's see. Nasiba says, I have a close neighbor that's so friendly. So friendly. Good. You're writing so fast. You forgot the D in friendly, but lovely sentence. Great. You could say that or who, right? Both are okay. Tito, the neighbor before the home. Now, that's interesting. Because the home, I think you mean your house, right? I think you mean, so you would say the neighbor before our house, because home, it's interesting, right? Home is the idea of the people and the place. This is my home. Santander is the home, is my home. This house is my home. But the people and the place, my family, so home is a much warmer word. House is the building. And if you're talking about position in front of, opposite the house, then you're going to say the house, our house. And before is not the right preposition, right? As I'm sure some people are screaming at me. The neighbor opposite, we would say, right? Again, not in front of. It sounds like they're standing in front of your house, but the neighbor opposite. Over here, I can see the neighbor opposite our house. And the neighbor here doesn't mean the person, it's their house, right? The neighbor opposite our house. Nice, Tito. Thank you for sharing that. That's really, really useful, I think, for everybody. Daniela, close door neighbors if you live in a flat? No. You'd say next door neighbors. So next door neighbors, that's people on the same floor. But if they're upstairs or downstairs, you've got your upstairs neighbors and downstairs neighbors. It's a good question. Let me come on to that because I'm about to go through that. We've got collocations, synonyms, close. So you're talking about next door neighbors, right? We can say they're close neighbors, near neighbors, in close proximity, more of an adverbial phrase, but in close proximity. Proximity means close, but this is the collocation, right? In close proximity. So these three mean the same thing. We can say they live near us, they live nearby. So notice the difference. Near has an object. Near us, near me, near our house. There's an object. Nearby, there's no object. They live nearby. You cannot say they live nearby us. No. We live nearby the city. No. We live near the city. They live near us, right? There's an object there. Live nearby, no object. So let me just emphasize. I mean grammatical object, right? They live in close proximity, meaning they live nearby. They live in close proximity. And Daniela, in answer to your question, they live upstairs. You can say also they live upstairs from us, or they live downstairs from us. You can also say upstairs neighbor, right? the upstairs neighbours. Our upstairs neighbours. Or our downstairs neighbours, right? Similar thing. Okay, good. Krithika, friendly neighbours make people feel at home. Yes. Ibrahim, in Turkey we say, in Turkey, excuse me, don't buy a house, have a neighbour. Interesting. Interesting. Paper, hello, I want to ask, what is the method to practice pronunciation every day? Well, number one, Paper, watch my videos and repeat with me. Number two, I can recommend the ELSA app. You can download that. There's a free trial and you can try ELSA to do your pronunciation day after day. Just 5 or 10 minutes practicing, repeating and repeating day after day. ELSA is good because it gives you feedback on what you're saying, right? So try that. It's called the ELSA app. And you can get a free version. There's a paid for version as well, but you can try that. Okay. Tito says, it's a Moroccan proverb, which means you should choose whom you are going to live beside, the neighbour, not the house. Ah, so when you're choosing to buy a house, choose your neighbour, not the house. That is very interesting. Yes. Mavi says, my classmate is my next door neighbour. Great. Stefano, nice to see you from Italy. And Danielle from Poland. My neighbour lives near me. Yes, Nasiba. That's why he's a neighbour. Yes, but you're right. The neighbour before the house, I think, is an idiom. Expresses a cultural feature which values neighbours a lot. I think it's really interesting, right? I think so, yeah, Wanda, because it's so important, your neighbours. If you get on well with them, it can make life easy. If you fall out or argue with your neighbour, it can make life a nightmare day after day, right? Let's talk about arguing with your neighbour, because you've brought that up. And it's also something we often talk about with neighbours, right? An argument. So we say, I sometimes, or let's say I had an argument. Whoops. Oh, come on. I can't type. Position of the keyboard. I had an argument with my neighbour. Okay. So to have an argument. Argument, if you see the pronunciation, it's an R. It's a long vowel. There's no R. It's not R. It's R. And it's a gia. A lot of people say argument. No. Argument. Can you see that? Argument. Have an argument. I had an argument with my neighbour. Listen to the stress again. I had an argument with my neighbour. 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 I would stress those two. Sentence stress, really important to get more natural English intonation. Synonyms we can have. I'm running out of space. Let me bring that up, bring that down. A dispute. I had a dispute with my neighbour. A conflict. My neighbour and I have had a conflict. A disagreement. A falling out. To fall out is to argue. But as a noun, we can say a falling out. We had a falling out. You can say we had a disagreement, we had a falling out. I think dispute and conflict we would use a little differently. I think we would say there's a dispute between me and my neighbour. There's a bit of a conflict about something. So I think have, I would say with these, but not with the other two. To have a disagreement, to have a falling out. Oops. But I don't think I would say that for the first two. There's a dispute, there's a conflict. I think will be better. I don't say we have a dispute, no. I think there is better. Why am I whispering? I don't know. I'm whispering so the neighbour can't hear me. Great. Right, good. I'm just checking in. Layla says she's used the Elsa app, which is perfect and incredible. It is quite incredible. I like it a lot. If I change the preposition, they live upstairs. They live upstairs to me? No. They live upstairs from me, right? Yeah, they live upstairs from, not to. Good question, Kuso. Really good question. Because you're testing and seeing what works and doesn't work. And that is very, very good. A very good strategy. Nice. Yes, there is a free version of Elsa. Yes, as soon as you download it. Okay. My next house neighbour. Rustem, not my next house neighbour. It's got to be my next door neighbour. Yep. You wouldn't say my next house neighbour. No, my next door neighbour. This is really good, Rustem, because what's happening is we're testing, we're trying things, we're seeing if they work, and we find out what does work and what doesn't work. And that is brilliant strategy, right? Really, really good. So I'm going to help you just a little bit, and so that everybody can see, because I really like what you're doing. I really like what everybody's doing. So my next door neighbour is the correct one. Yep. Excellent. Domicio says, I have never had an argument with my next door neighbour. He always invites me for a drink. That is a good neighbour. Excellent. A brawl with my neighbours. Yes, I had a brawl. A brawl is quite... A brawl is more physical, right? So a falling out or a disagreement is up here. A brawl is there's physical. You probably hit or punched or pushed your neighbour. So a brawl has a feeling of being more physical, right? So just be careful with that one, more physical. There's probably some kind of contact with your neighbour, but it's a really good word. Bye-bye, baby songs. I had an argument with my friend. Excellent. Layla says, I've never had an argument with my neighbours because I rarely see them. Right, yes. I had a row with my neighbour. Maria Josefa, that's really good. Yeah. Let's add that one because I think that's a good one. A row. A row. Think of it, because I know it sounds... This word has two pronunciations, right? It can be a row or a row. And a row is, imagine the cow. Imagine you're having an argument with a cow. I mean, how strange is that, right? The cow's like, moo, and you're like, no. Row with the cow. That's how you can remember it. Never row with a cow, because they always win. Excellent, good. Christina asks, can I say hash out in this context? Oh, I remember that in one of my videos. We've been hashed out parcels we received from Amazon. So no, not exactly, Christina. Hash out is to work out the details. So you can hash out who is going to take care of the parcels, right? You can work out the details, but not exactly what you've put here, right? Good question. Yeah, ever, good. Quarrel, fight, row, all of those are good, yes. Can we say having a row? Yes, we can, exactly. To have a row. Yep, we've got that one added. Can we say have a conflict with my community of neighbours? Yes, you could. I would tend to say, you know, there's a conflict. I disagree with my neighbours, or I disagree with the community of neighbours. We have a conflict. So, Carlos, I think have a conflict is possible, but it doesn't sound natural. I would say there is, right? I would change things up. Okay, excellent. I have an appointment with my next door neighbour who is a physiotherapist. Great, Manasmo. Good English. Good luck with that. Yes. Helen says, I really got on well with my neighbours, but unfortunately they all passed away. Really? They all passed away. All of your neighbours, or just some of them? Maybe you live in a community where there are just older people, right? And I know what you mean. I live in a community where a lot of the people here are retired in their 70s and 80s, and sometimes they pass away. It reminds me of a very funny interview I saw. It was on the BBC. There was an old lady. She was about 80 years old. And she lived opposite the church. Now, in England, the church is also where you bury the people. So we have our graveyards in the church, in the city centre. In Spain, it's a bit different. The graveyards are outside the village or the city. Here in England, so this lady was living opposite the church, and they came to interview her, and they said, doesn't it feel strange looking over the graveyard from your window? And she said, no, it's nice to be near my friends. Because all her friends had passed away. She must have been 80 or 85. And I thought that was quite interesting and a funny thing to say. No, it's quite nice to be near my friends. Anyway, neighbours is what we're talking about, right? Neighbours. So let's move on to our next question. Let me just check how we're doing. Yeah, Abdel, I like this. I had an issue with my neighbour. Yeah, that's really good. Like a problem, right? Excellent. Good. I'll just correct you because it's just one issue. That's absolutely good. Absolutely good. Absolutely correct. I've got another question. Do you get on with your neighbours? Again, you can just write in the chat. Do you get on with your neighbours? To get on means have a good relationship, right? To get on with someone, to have a good relationship. To get on with someone. So just write in the chat what you think. Do you get on with your neighbours? And I'm just going to move on to the next slide. Do you get on with your neighbours? You have a suggestion. Please give a suggestion about a cue card. Akash, suggestion about the cue card. Well, describe a neighbour that you know. There's a suggestion. Describe a neighbour that you know. So let's have a look. I'm going to share with you some of the things that you're saying. Do you get on with your neighbours? Jennifer says, well, I had a noisy, extravagant neighbour who usually likes to celebrate. Oh, yeah, of course, says Ian. Yes, I get on well with her. Yes. Caroline, yes, but a superficial relationship. Tomboy, I get on well with my neighbours. Natalia says she's really friendly and we like each other. Emmy says my family used to conflicts with my neighbours. Used to have conflicts, maybe. If you live in the middle of nowhere, there have a slim chance. Julia, I have a slim chance, or you have a slim chance. Maria Josefa, I don't get along with my neighbours. Marizier, we really get on well with our neighbours. Vesna, yes, I get on well with my neighbours. I have a wonderful bond with my neighbours. Right. Not really, I don't talk with my neighbours. Severa, yes, I get on well with my neighbours. Rasel Hossein, my neighbour is very, very friendly, so a close relationship between me and my neighbour. Nice. Unfortunately, I don't have a chance to get on with my neighbours. I wonder why. I don't get on well with my neighbour, says Rustem. Nice. Good. Yes, we get on with my neighbours. If you say we, I would say yes, we get on with our neighbours. Mayrush. We get on with our neighbours. Zahara says, yes, now we're getting used to spending quality time together. Very nice. Prongnam? Yes, I do, because she's been a good neighbour to me. Oh, you're such a good student, Prongnam. Hussein, I'm very well. DN, yes, I get on well with most of them. Florence says, I get on well with my neighbours. I take care of their dog when they go on holiday. You're a very good neighbour, Florence. Brian says, one of my neighbours is my English teacher, so I hope you get on well with them. Tom says, good neighbours make a good fence. Is that a proverb? Yes, when they're not remodelling the apartment. Very funny, Leah. Very funny. Great. For Fajana, I generally get along well with my neighbours. We maintain a friendly relationship. I appreciate having a good connection. That's really good. Very, very nice. I love it. Okay. Liban, we don't know each other. Not with my neighbours, but we don't know each other. My neighbours and I, we don't know each other. I get along well with my neighbours. Okay. Brilliant. Really nice. Some good expressions, right? I get on with them. Notice we say we get on with our neighbours, right? Make sure you're changing that. I get along with them. I get along well with them is good as well. Good. All of these are good. We have a superficial relationship was a common one. We have a superficial relationship. Great. Good. I'm just seeing what else is coming up. I treat well with my neighbour. We treat each other well, I would say. We treat each other well. We are best friends. Great. Good. Let me come back. We treat each other well rather than that. I get on well with each other. We get on well. We have a good relationship. We have a close bond. Maybe. Any others coming up? We get on well with all my neighbours. Hello, dear. Okay. I think that's coming to the end. Good. Do you get on well with your neighbours? Very, very interesting. Let me close that for the moment. Okay. So we've got, I get on with them. We get on with our neighbours, we and our. I get along well with them. We have a superficial relationship. We treat each other well. Good. Okay. Get along and get on. The difference, it's the same. It's the same, really. Nick, that's nice. I barely see them. Yep. That's good, right? I barely see them. Nick says, because I'm a morning person, they are night people. I never get chance. I never get a chance. I never get a chance. A chance to see them. Right, probably because you have different schedules, right? You work at different times. My neighbours are from other countries. That's why I don't have a partner to talk English to. When your neighbours are well, you are well. Very, very good. I like it. Excellent. Good. Thank you so much for all of those ideas. Really, really good and really interesting to see if you get on well with your neighbours. Okay, great. So what's coming up next? Coming up next, well, let's have a look. Let me just switch screens and we can see. We've been talking about vocabulary and we've been talking about if you know your neighbours and if you get on with your neighbours. Next, it's a bit of, ooh.
Open your ears, open your mind. It's time for a listening exercise. Maybe a dictation, but without intimidation. Maybe a listening bingo that can open a new window to discover your new listening skills. So listen with me.
Right, there we go. Listen with me. Change of activity. Let's move on to listening bingo. Okay, listening bingo. Here we go. I'd like you to listen to a guy talking about his neighbours and, well, what are the 3 whistled words? What I mean by whistled words is when I go, tell me the word. So if I say, my name is, the missing word or the whistled word is Keith. My name is Keith. Okay. So I want you to listen, and when you hear the, guess the word. If you can, write it in the chat. There are 3 words, right? 3 whistled words. Great word. Whistle. It actually sounds like the word, right? Whistle. That's called an onomatopoeia, when the word sounds like what it is, a whistle. 3 whistled words. Tongue twister. Are you ready? Brilliant. Miriam says, I developed my listening skills thanks to your channel. Great. Kadir, I'm 57. Interesting question. Okay, let's do it. Ready? Here we go. I know of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close. I think I know them because I into them on a regular basis. Okay, guys, what are the 3 whistled words? Let's see what you think. I'll give you a minute. To me, Pascal, good to see you. One of. Again, yeah, of course. One more time. I know of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close. I think I know them because I into them on a regular basis. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let me help you out a little bit. So let's put in some words here. Oops. And let me play again, and you can see. I know of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close. I think I know them because I into them on a regular basis. That should help you a little bit. Close by, maybe, maybe not. Be careful with some because number 1 is a, so you can't have a some. A lot is possible. A one. Number two, door. Enclosed door. I know a one of my neighbours. A one. Be careful. A lot is possible. Proximity for number two. Interesting. Number three, run into. Number two, next door. Who live in close next door. Let's play it again. I know a of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close. I think I know them because I into them on a regular basis. So a few is possible. A lot is possible. Close. Proximity is possible for number two. Natalia as well. Proximity for number two is possible. Number three, run is possible. Yeah, run is possible. Okay. A lot, yeah, is possible. In close neighborhood, maybe not. Bump is possible for number three. Okay. Yeah, Eva also has bump. Okay. So run or bump for number three. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to play the original and you can see what the original answer was. Okay. Here we go. Here's the original. I know a handful of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close proximity. I think I know them because I bump into them on a regular basis. And interesting, right? So you got some of the answers, possible answers. So a lot is possible, a bunch is possible, but the actual answer was different, right? The actual answer, has anybody got it? A number is possible, but that wasn't the answer. Has anybody got the answer? Yeah, Jiaolu, handful. Jialusi, a handful of my neighbours. May Rush also got handful. Yes, Oyinlola also. Oyinlola, is that? Got handful? Yeah. Excellent. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. Okay. Excellent. Let me show you the answers and you can listen and hear it at the same time. I know a handful of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close proximity. I think I know them because I bump into them on a regular basis. Okay, excellent. Good. So, different possibilities. Now, the reason I do this, right, is because when you're doing listening skills, especially in IELTS, you often or sometimes get a text with gaps. And it's always a good idea to look at the text, look at the gaps and imagine the possible words, because then your brain is getting ready, right? For example, number one, a lot, a few, a bunch, a handful. So your brain, when you actually listen, your brain is ready to get the words. You're more ready for listening. So this strategy of guessing possible words is really good. And then when you listen, you go, it's this one or that one. And also use the grammar to help you, right? If you see then it can't be some or one. It's not possible, right? So use the grammar to help you guess and use the guessing to help you listen. I like that. Use the grammar to help you guess. Use the guessing to help you listen. I like that. I should copyright that. Okay, you've done well. You've done well so far. Right, bump. Well, bump means to meet somebody by chance. Kadir. So to bump into someone is to meet them by chance. Okay, now that was the whistle listening, but let's take it even a step further. Let's go further. I want you to listen again. And I've lost my bingo. Here's my bingo. So this time we're going to listen to the whole text. To the whole talk, let's say. And I want you to mark the boxes that contain the exact words that you hear. When you have a line of 3, type bingo in the chat, okay? So for example, actually let me change that. That might confuse you. So if you hear study schedules and you hear knowing your business and you hear keep your pets, that is the 3 and that you know is the answer. So you can type those words and bingo in the chat when you know the answer. Okay, that's an example. It might not be true. So you're going to listen to the whole talk, listen for the words, and mark the boxes with the exact words. So if you hear studying schedules, doesn't count. It must be the exact words. So be really careful with your listening. Okay, so this is the same talk, but a bit longer. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to listen. Oh, how to IELTS. Brick, hello. I remember you. Of course, we had conversations, didn't we? Love to come back. Excellent. Let's do it. Can you email me? Keith at Keith Speaking Academy. And just to remind me, that'd be great. What does it mean on a regular basis? It means regularly, like every day. Okay, guys, just give me some thumbs up. Excellent. Okay, let's listen. The whole talk. Let's go. I know a handful of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by. You know, those who live in close proximity. I think I know them because I bump into them on a regular basis. And other neighbours who live further away, I don't know because we just never cross paths. Often, I guess, due to different work schedules. Also, some neighbours are not very sociable. They just prefer to keep themselves to themselves, so I don't really come into contact with them. I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of neighbours I would call friends, or let's say, invite round for dinner. And maybe that's a good thing. You don't want everyone in your neighbourhood knowing your business. Also, I think sometimes it's a good idea to put some distance between you and your neighbours. You know, not to be too close, just in case you have a falling out with them, or there's an argument over something. You know, like they think the branches of a tree in your garden are hanging into their garden. All that said, of course, neighbours are important. They can help you out. They can keep an eye on your pets if you're going away, or even your children if you know them well enough. If you run out of sugar or tea, they can lend you some. Most of all, neighbours can give you that sense of community, that sense that you belong to a particular place. And for many of us, that's really important. Okay, interesting. Enas, you've got a bingo. Lola has a bingo. Lena has a bingo. Just write in the words that you think are the bingo. Lena has a bingo. Interesting. Jalu has a bingo. Stella. Interesting. Ibrahim. Interesting. Jane has a bingo. 159. Oh, I see. Interesting. We've got quite a few more bingos now. Carboni, Christina. Okay, right. Okay. Erdi, I can see all your comments. You have a question. It's difficult to answer your question here, but you can email me, Erdi, if you like. Keith at Keith Speaking Academy. Okay. Listen to the whole talk. So what I'll do is I'll play it one more time and I'll indicate the right answer as we listen. You can just look at my face. I'll be nodding or shaking. I forgot. Nod. Shake. Keith forgets his English. Because I'm living in Spain, I forget my English. Nod if it's right and I'll shake if it's wrong. Okay, let's listen again and we'll get the right answers. Most of you are absolutely correct. Most of you. I know a handful of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by, those who live in close proximity. I think I know them because I bump into them on a regular basis. And other neighbours who live further away, I don't know because we just never cross paths. Often, I guess, due to different work schedules. Also, some neighbours are not very sociable. They just prefer to keep themselves to themselves, so I don't really come into contact with them. I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of neighbours I would call friends, or let's say, invite round for dinner. And maybe that's a good thing. You don't want everyone in your neighbourhood knowing your business. Also, I think sometimes it's a good idea to put some distance between you and your neighbours. Not to be too close, just in case you have a falling out with them, or there's an argument over something. Like they think the branches of a tree in your garden are hanging into their garden. All that said, of course, neighbours are important. They can help you out. They can keep an eye on your pets, if you're going away, or even your children, if you know them well enough. If you run out of sugar or tea, they can lend you some. Most of all, neighbours can give you that sense of community, that sense that you belong to a particular place. And for many of us, that's really important. Okay, hopefully you saw that. So cross paths, yes. It was work schedule, not study. It was count on the fingers of one hand. The expression to count on the fingers of one hand means very few, because you can count on the fingers of one hand. It's maximum 5. So when we say, how many friends do I have? Well, I can count on the fingers of my hand how many friends I have. It means a few. Invite round, not invite over. This was yes. It was keep a distance, not long distance. I think this was help out, not helping hand. And this was keep an eye on your pets. Okay, let me show you the full script. In fact, we can play the whole thing and you can read at the same time, and I'll just go through any interesting language. Let me put it all on one page. It might help a little bit. Last time, the more you listen, the better you get. I do recommend as a student, try and listen to English 1 hour a day. That doesn't have to be intense listening, but even just background listening and fun listening or relaxing listening. Try and do as much as possible. That's why in the lesson, I like you to listen again and see how much more you understand at the end of the listening bingo. Let's do the last time. I know a handful of my neighbours, mainly those who live very close by, those who live in close proximity. I think I know them because I bump into them on a regular basis. And other neighbours who live further away, I don't know because we just never cross paths. Often, I guess, due to different work schedules. Also, some neighbours are not very sociable. They just prefer to keep themselves to themselves, so I don't really come into contact with them. I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of neighbours I would call friends, or let's say, invite round for dinner. And maybe that's a good thing. You don't want everyone in your neighbourhood knowing your business. Also, I think sometimes it's a good idea to put some distance between you and your neighbours. Not to be too close, just in case you have a falling out with them, or there's an argument over something. Like they think the branches of a tree in your garden are hanging into their garden. All that said, of course, neighbours are important. They can help you out. They can keep an eye on your pets, if you're going away, or even your children, if you know them well enough. If you run out of sugar or tea, they can lend you some. Most of all, neighbours can give you that sense of community, that sense that you belong to a particular place. And for many of us, that's really important. Great. Just a few words. Some of you asked about bump into. Okay, that means what? How did I do that? Oh, what was that? Ah, interesting. Meet by chance. On a regular basis just means regularly, quite often, frequently, let's say. Cross paths. So to cross paths is to meet. To meet, I mean, it's the idea that you're walking on a path, I'm walking on a path. If we cross paths, right? We cross paths. It means to meet. It's used in very special circumstances, right? You wouldn't say, I'm going to cross paths with my boss tomorrow. No. It's kind of to meet, not by chance, but similar. We cross paths. Maybe by chance. It's used in very special circumstances, but so you understand it, at least cross paths. Keep themselves to themselves. Nice, interesting collocation, maybe an idiom. To keep yourself to yourself. In fact, you can also say to keep to yourself. To keep to yourself. I keep to myself. You keep to yourself. Is to spend time alone, not talking to others. Or keep yourself to yourself. It's the same. To spend time alone, not talking to others. For example, she is a quiet person and prefers to keep to herself. So again, I keep to myself. You keep to yourself. My neighbours, they keep to themselves. Or they keep themselves to themselves. You can repeat it, right? They keep themselves to themselves. So they're quiet. They do their own thing, really. And this expression I mentioned, to count on the fingers of one hand, just means a few. Again, it's not a perfect synonym, but you can use it sometimes to express the idea of a few. Knowing your business, just they know everything about you, right? I think you do that say that in many languages. Okay. Keep an eye on is to look after or look out for, look after, take care of. It's quite common, I think, right? Somebody earlier mentioned they look after their pets, their neighbours' pets, keep an eye on. It's idiomatic, keep an eye on, keep an eye on, look after somebody. And sense of community is the last one, that feeling of community. Okay, brilliant, good. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to give you too much vocabulary, but at least for listening skills, that may help. Okay. Lena says, every day I keep to myself. That's good, Lena. I sometimes keep to myself. I think when I'm at home and working, I like to keep to myself. Yeah, sometimes. My friend always keep himself to himself every weekend. Good, Sunny. Let me just help a little bit. My friend always keeps himself to himself. Great. Very, very good language. Good. Very nice. Excellent. So where are we in today's lesson? We've just done a listening, right? A listening bingo. What's coming up next? I've got an idea. I think what's coming up next is this one. The good old
I want some
idioms.
I want them now. I want some idioms, but I don't know how to learn them, how to remember them. All I know, I really think so, is that I want some idioms now. How to learn them, how to remember them. All I know, and I really think so, is that I want some idioms now. How to learn them, how to remember them. All I know, and I really think so, is that I want some idioms now. How to learn them.
Excellent, great. There you go. So, oh, you can't see me. Let's take that away. Idioms. Let's jump straight in. Can you guess these idioms? I'm going to show you a picture and see if you can guess the idioms. Ready? Here is number 1. First idiom. Phong Nam, the song I made with AI. Brian the Brick, I was looking at your question, your situation. That's a bit, I'm trying to think, but let me think about it and get back to you. I mean, practice your speech in front of friends, I would say. Record yourself and listen back with friends. I live in Santander. To be noisy or to be nosy? There seems to be a difference of opinion. And the spelling is very interesting. I like this one. Where is it? It's gone. To be or not to be. Maxim, very nice. Kadir, how do you get that? There's no shoes here at all. Okay, excellent. I think most of you have absolutely got this spot on. Perfect. Here's the answer. To be nosy. And just remember, right, it's nose with an E, nosy. I mean, now I'm beginning to think because you're all writing it in different ways. But I'm pretty sure it's with an E, right? Yeah, it's with an E. Yes, absolutely. To be nosy means to be too interested in other people's lives. For example, my neighbour is so nosy, she always watches from her window when I have visitors. There's the expression, she is a nosy Parker. I don't know if it's with a capital. Let me check. I did a Instagram live yesterday and one of the students came up with this nosy Parker, which was a fantastic word. A nosy Parker just means somebody who is very nosy, right? Very, very nosy. No capitals. No. 2 words, no capitals. But, interesting. That is interesting. Cambridge does it without an E. Huh. Let's explore this together. I like exploring together. So nosy Parker, a person who is nosy, and nosy without an E. That's interesting. So are there 2 ways of spelling it? Also nosy, right, also. So there's 2 ways, right? There's nosy and then there's nosy with an E as well. There are both of them. It's interesting, right? Because I think you should become like a detective. When you are unsure about something, I mean, even as a teacher, right, go and check, because sometimes when you see English so much and you teach it so much, you forget or you get confused. So it can be both ways. It can be nosy or nosy, right? So I'm going to put both of those then. Nosy. She's a nosy Parker. 2 words. However, it is not noisy. Noisy is when you make a lot of noise, right? Like the traffic or the music. Not noisy. That's not the right one. Okay, nosy is excellent. That was the first one. Well done, all of you. Let's do number 2. Here we go. Can you guess the idiom? Interesting. Some very interesting ones about fire. Actually, so the actual answer for this one was to get on like a house on fire. But I can see some of you been talking about being fired is also a different kind of idiom. So this one is to get on like a house on fire. To get on like a. You must have a. A lot of you do not have the a. It's a house on fire. Remember the a. And it means to quickly become good friends and to get on very well, but very quickly, right? Very well and very quickly. For example, my new neighbours and I get on like a house on fire. We already plan to have dinner together next week. Like a house on fire. So the other one... What was the other one that somebody said? To get fired. Yeah, to be fired means to lose your job because you've worked badly. But that's a different idiom. Okay, lovely. Number 3. Can you guess the idiom? Sad grey, to hit it off. Yes, good alternative. Yep, to get on well, to hit it off. Good. Shadows. Good word. Good guess, Ibrahim. Inas, you're very close, and you're doing really well. Yeah, you've got 3 words, right? Seek for someone close. Ooh, very close. The shadow is someone. So Eduardo, you're also very, very, very close. I think you're the closest so far. Marcus, it's a good expression, but a different one. Mariana, same. Good expression, but a different one. Oh, nobody's got it. Nobody. Look for black man. Seriously? Yes and no. Oh, you're so close. Okay, this is tearing me up because nobody's there. You're so close. So the person here is looking out for someone. To look out for someone. This is the word that was difficult. You had look forward, look after, looking for. But I mean, to look for someone is when you've lost them. Look forward to seeing someone is when you can't wait. You're excited. Look out for is to take care of someone and make sure they're okay. To look out for. For example, our neighbours look out for each other, especially if someone is sick or needs help. Okay? So some of you were very close. I mean, yeah, look after, similar. So look out for someone. Ayesha, you've got it there. To look out for someone. It's similar, Eduardo, you're right. To keep an eye on someone is exactly that, yeah? Let's add that because it's exactly that, to keep an eye on someone. And that is also another idiom, right? Very, very similar. 2 idioms for the price of 1. Nice. Let's have a look at the last one, okay? Idiom number 4. Can you guess the idiom? Sunny lawns, yeah, nice example. My mother always looks out for me. Hytham, you're right. Yeah, look out means to be cautious, but look out for someone to take care of them. This is a difficult one. Oh, we've got some clever people here. Caroline, look carefully at the last 3 words. Mariana, again, great idiom, but that's a different one. Good guess, Nora. Okay, brilliant. A lot of you have got the right answer there. And basically, as Mohamed said, to get her, you put together, right? Pull together. You can see them pulling together. That's what it is. It's to pull together. Where are we? Here we are. Number 4, to pull together. Meaning to work as a team to achieve something. To pull together. I was tricking you with the word to get her. For example, when I got promoted, some neighbours pulled together to organise a small party to celebrate. The neighbours pulled together. So they work as a team to help do something or to achieve something. Brilliant. Very, very nice. Those are the 4 idioms. There are some other idioms there, as you've mentioned. But I'm not going to go through all of them today, mainly because of time. But just a quick recap. We've got to be nosy, like a nosy Parker. She's so nosy. To get on like a house on fire, when you have a good relationship with somebody. To look out for somebody. Look out for, I look out for my children. To pull together. Nice. Okay. Brilliant. Those are the idioms. What's coming up next? What's coming up next? A drink. That's what's coming up next. I've got too many buttons to press. And after the drink, we'll have a dad's joke. Okay. Ba-dab-shee-be-doo-be-doo-be-doo-be bum bum bum. Keep an eye on your neighbor. Okay. Here it is. I've just found the joke, the very, very silly joke. Let's try this. This is a dad's joke. It is very, very bad. Here we go. Why didn't I say anything to my neighbor who I saw stealing socks off my clothesline? I'll give you a minute. Think about that one. What do you think it is? You're right. Christmas is already here. Do you know, in our village, we've already put up some Christmas lights, and in the city centre, they've put up the Christmas tree. It's on the way. So why didn't I say anything to my neighbour who I saw stealing socks off my clothesline? Because they suck. Huda, lovely to see you here. Maybe he took a smelly one. Maybe. So he was helping me out, right? Pull your socks up. Nice expression, meaning to improve, work better. Alexander, true. If you want to avoid arguments. Because I didn't want things to get too tangled up. Wow, that is a brilliant answer. Because it has two meanings, right? All the clothes get tangled up, but also your relationship can get tangled up. Wow, that's amazing, Mehad. Well done. Maybe my socks aren't new. Yes. Great. Good taste. Because it belongs to him. Oh, maybe. But why am I washing his socks? Oh, very good. To keep yourself to yourself. Very good. He was trying to set up his fashion game. Not with my socks. They're not mine. It's none of my business. Maybe. Because the socks don't match each other. What a good answer. Because you don't have enough socks to wear to meet him and say anything to him. I wonder why he wants it. Absolutely. Listen, very, very good answers. Let me give you the actual answer, which is because I got cold feet. So you need to know, right? You need to know the meaning of cold feet. To get cold feet is to get nervous. Whoops, not onerous, nervous. To get cold feet. So to get cold feet, to get nervous and then not do something. So I want to speak to him, but I get nervous and I don't. I get cold feet. But of course, cold feet, because he's stolen my socks, I have cold feet. So there's two meanings, right? I get cold feet because I got cold feet. Ah, hilarious. Well, I think it was hilarious. Oh dear. What's a dad joke? It's a rubbish joke, a very bad joke. I do apologise for the quality of humour in my English lessons. Yeah, so that's a good point, right? Yes, if you've got cold feet, ask for the sock back. You've written old feet. Have I? Oh, yes. Cold feet. Excuse me. To get cold feet. Thank you for that. Okay. Good. What's next, guys? What's next? After the dad joke, I think it's... an interview with a neighbour. Okay. Interview with a neighbour. This is a very short interview, but we're going to watch an interview with a neighbour who's going to talk about, well, some different questions. Yeah, good. Frederic, you're talking about the, absolutely about the getting cold feet. It means you're not courageous enough. Brian says, I hope I don't get cold feet in my speech contest. Good luck with that, Brian. Hope it goes well. Huda, thank you. Nice one, though. Nice joke. So, interview with my neighbour. We're going to watch the interview, and I'd like you to answer this question. Does he like all his neighbours? Does he like all his neighbours? Okay, so just give me another thumbs up when you're ready to watch. Miranda, don't worry, you're here now. You're still in time to watch a little bit. Okay, here we go. Does he like all his neighbours? Just give me a thumbs up. I don't know if you're still here. Thumbs up if you're ready to watch. I sometimes have that feeling, right, as an online teacher, you know, when you're talking and you think, what if everybody has just gone to the toilet? What if everybody's gone to make a cup of coffee and I'm just talking to nobody? I'm talking to space. And I get that feeling sometimes, which is why I say, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. I'm just making sure that you're still there. Excellent. Good. So the question was, does he like all his neighbours? Okay. He's going to be asked different questions. Let's watch.
I live in a semi-detached house in one of the suburbs of Manchester. Well, yes, I'm surrounded by neighbors. I mean, you could say everyone on our street is a neighbor, but I only really interact with a handful of them, the ones who live on either side of me and a couple who live across the street. I get on with most of them, but there's this one neighbor who is quite solitary. He likes to do his own thing, and that's fine. But whenever I pass him on the street, he never lets on. So he kinda makes me feel like I'm a total stranger, even though I see him 3 or 4 times a week. I wouldn't say I can't stand him, but nowadays, I don't go out of my way to be polite or say hello. To be honest, we just go our own ways.
Right. So, does he like all his neighbours? Yes, Sarah, you're right. Yes, it is created by AI. But very good AI, right? It is, yes. But kind of robotic. Yeah, you can tell it's AI, but good enough for the moment. The problem is, all of my neighbours speak Spanish, so that's not going to help you, right? Yeah, personal trainer. He looks like it, right? Big biceps. The actual answer, does he like his neighbours? Let's see. A handful of them, most of them, except one neighbour. No, he doesn't like one. Except one. Yeah, well done. Good. Very, very good. Does he like all his neighbours? So the answer would be no. Not yes, but no, he doesn't. Let me put this up here. He likes most of them. But there is one he doesn't like. Does he like all his neighbours? Yes, except one. That's a much easier answer, right? Dear me. Going all around the houses. No, he doesn't. He likes most of them, but there is one he doesn't like. I mean, it's good English, but terrible answer. I like your answer better. Yes, except one. Thank you, Caroline, and others who gave a much better answer. Okay, good. All of them but one. That's nice, Julia. He gets on well with all but one. One of them is not close to him. Exactly. Very, very good. Except the solitary one. Lovely English, you guys. Really good English. Most of them except one of them. Very, very good. Like it. Okay. So we're going to watch again. I'd like you to watch again and just note any useful collocations. Okay. Watch again and just listen, and you can write in the chat any useful collocations. Let's do it one more time.
I live in a semi-detached house in one of the suburbs of Manchester. Well, yes, I'm surrounded by neighbors. I mean, you could say everyone on our street is a neighbor, but I only really interact with a handful of them, the ones who live on either side of me and a couple who live across the street. I get on with most of them, but there's this one neighbor who is quite solitary. He likes to do his own thing, and that's fine. But whenever I pass him on the street, he never lets on. So he kinda makes me feel like I'm a total stranger, even though I see him 3 or 4 times a week. I wouldn't say I can't stand him, but nowadays, I don't go out of my way to be polite or say hello. To be honest, we just go our own ways.
Interesting. Semi-detached house. Good. Nice. Good. Nice, Alexander. Nice, Jojo. Thanks, Jane. Oh, I love the spaces. That's nice and clear. Almost. Tracy, no, I'm great. Thank you. Oh, thank you for that. Let me change it. I'm having a nightmare today, aren't I, with spelling? Thank you. To go our own ways. Lovely, Manjun. Yeah, very, very nice. Good. Let's have a look together. Let's switch around, just bring it on here. This is the script. So the first question he was asked, but you didn't hear. Where do you live? I live in a semi-detached house. So semi-detached house is, well, it's easier to show you, right? 2 houses that are together. I think in America, they call them townhouses. I think that's more common. Come with me as we explore The world of Google. It says a single family duplex dwelling. My God. Single family duplex dwelling. Don't say that in IELTS. Shares one common wall with its neighbour. That's true. So it looks like this, right? Two houses together. Two houses joined together. So two families living in adjacent houses, basically. That is a semi-detached. That's a good picture of one. That's semi-detached. Different colours. Cork Solids, Ireland again. Ireland, they have beautiful colours in Ireland. Okay, so semi-detached house, great. Suburbs, you can talk about in the suburbs or in one of the suburbs. It's not a collocation, but good vocabulary. Surrounded by neighbours, to be surrounded by something. I only interact with a handful of them. A handful of them. Do you remember handful is a few, right? A few of them. The ones who live on either side of me. So if you're describing where your neighbours live, you can say they live on either side of me or live across the street. Across the way, across the street, opposite, basically. That's the same as opposite. You can also say opposite here. I've changed opposite. Okay. Do you like your neighbours? I get on with most of them, to get on with. But there's one who is quite solitary. Solitary is just not lonely, on his own, right? Likes to be on his own. To do his own thing, right? Is to keep himself to himself. It all means the same. Keep to himself, do his own thing, be alone, I guess, right? I guess be alone is a similar thing. To be alone. Solitary. All very similar things. Because often when we talk about neighbours, there's two kinds of neighbours. There's the introvert and the extrovert. He never lets on. To let on is to say hello. Well, it's to recognise somebody. To see and recognise someone. So to let on, when you're walking down the street and you see somebody and you cross paths, right? In England, we go, all right, all right. That's what we say. We don't say hello. No, we just nod your head and say, all right, mate, all right. To let on. I let on to my neighbour. I let on to people in the street. I see them and I recognise them. All right, mate, all right. So yeah, you can let on. Sometimes you don't let on. Do you know, either because you want to ignore them, or you don't like them, or if you're listening to music and you don't see them and you don't let on. But be careful, because neighbours can get angry if you don't let on. All right, mate. To see and recognise someone. So he kind of makes me feel a total stranger, a complete stranger. Total stranger is a nice collocation. I wouldn't say I can't stand him. So if you can't stand someone is really not like someone. To really not like. I can't stand him. I don't go out of my way. To go out of your way is to make a special effort. I don't go out of my way to be polite. We just go our own ways. To go your own way is to do your own thing. I mean, it's, I go this way, you go that way. We do our own thing, to go your own ways. Okay. Great. When both sides are detached, which can we say? Stella, we say detached house. A detached house. Twin houses, yeah, exactly. In England, we don't say that. I think in America they say townhouses, but people will understand, I think. Can we say fully detached or just detached? You can say both. Fully detached is just emphasizing, but they both mean the same thing, right? Ah, okay. In Poland, you call it a twin. Okay, I understand that, yeah. Snow, your first time. Excellent. Lovely to see your first message. Hello, Snow. And here's another. Hello from Winnie. Great. Go our separate ways. Yeah, go our own ways. Go our separate ways is exactly that. Very, very nice. Okay, brilliant. Good. So what's coming up next? We've done interview with a neighbor. Let me just find my my thingy. Oh, we've got a game of Kahoot. Now, Kahoot is great, but before we play Kahoot, I want to share something with you. It's a quick update. So, the live lessons, right? The live lessons are quite long. The live lessons take about 2 hours, as you notice, right? Keep going, you're doing great. What do you do after the live lesson? A while back, a few students asked me, you know, it's difficult to watch the live lesson because they're so long. So I did 2 things a while back. And one of them, I'm just going to show you, is on my YouTube channel. Can I find it? Yeah. Where is it? Where's it gone? Bear with me. That's interesting. Yeah, so itchy nose. On so the live lessons are 2 hours long. So what I've done on YouTube is I've broken up the live lessons. If you come into English Speaking Success, you can either just look at the live lessons here, or if you come down to the IELTS speaking topics, the live lessons I've also split into smaller lessons. So we had a live lesson on hospitals and challenges, right? And then we've got a speaking vocabulary lesson, and we've got the idioms lesson and the listening lesson. So I've broken down the 2-hour video into 3 or 4 shorter videos, so you can watch either the listening or the idioms or the vocabulary section. That's one thing that I've done. I did that a couple of months ago. Just to let you know, you can find shorter versions. In addition, I made pronunciation files, and this is what I want to show you. If you go to Keith Speaking Academy over here, you'll find there are over here some courses, online courses, and one of them is the Vocabulary Vault. The Vocabulary Vault is basically, it's taking all of my some of my live lessons, and it shows you inside there are pronunciation files you can practice and repeat, right? Basically, I've taken the lesson notes, done a pronunciation file. You can listen to that and practice. I want to show you very briefly inside the Vocabulary Vault, because I think this is a great way to help you study after the live lessons. Let me just show you very briefly how this. So at the moment, when you come to the website Keith Speaking Academy, you can go to the free live lessons, which you're watching today, and you can download the PDF from the lesson. Now that looks a bit like this, and you get lots of information, all the vocabulary, the activities that we've done in the lesson. Now, the lesson on the live lesson obviously takes about 2 hours. But what I've done now is I have taken this vocabulary and made a pronunciation file that you can practice. It's a 15-minute file. You can practice all the vocabulary with it, which is fantastic. And this has become a new course and it's called the Vocabulary Vault. Used to be the library. The Vocabulary Vault, basically when you go inside, you'll see that there's an introduction just explaining how it works here, how to use it. It explains the stories, the quizzes. So to help you learn the vocabulary, basically, let's take family. There's the pronunciation practice with this file from the live lesson. You go through, you repeat, practice all the pronunciation, the vocabulary. So it's going deep into your learning system. You can download this and you can watch the full live lesson if you like. But the important thing is you can listen to the audio and download the audio and do the practice. So that's the pronunciation practice. Then you can review with a little quiz here, which takes you through the different vocabulary, different ways of testing yourself. You can listen to the novel and also read the novel. So there's a story using all the vocabulary from the live lesson. It's a great way to review and to practice everything that you've learned. There are at the moment 17 different topics inside here. I'll be adding more, and it's a fantastic way to build up your vocabulary so you can use it effectively. The bonuses, well, there's one of my favorite books, Succeed in IELTS Speaking. It'll give you the insights to all the ways to succeed in your IELTS speaking test. And there's the bonus visualizations. These are like simple meditations where you just listen to my voice. I'm using all the vocabulary, in this case for study, and it's a kind of meditation, and it's a really interesting way to consolidate your learning of vocabulary. That's it. You can also get all of this in a podcast. You will get an email to get it into your favorite podcast player, or you can just listen to all of it here directly. That's it. The Vocabulary Vault. And so I think it's a great way to help you review. Now, you can, as I mentioned, you can get it on if you go to the website, it's in the online courses, and it's just here. Normal price is $47. And when you go in, if you press join now, you can give your details, pay by PayPal or credit card, coupon code. So yes, Long Jeng Sen says, can I get a discount? You're already a gold member. Okay, I'm going to offer a discount actually to everybody for the next 12 hours. I'm doing a 12-hour promotion. So if you use the coupon code CHEAP, easy to remember, right? CHEAP, capital letters. So when you go in here, just add the coupon code CHEAP and apply, and you will get your discount there. It's just a 12-hour promotion, so midnight tonight it's finishing, but it's a great opportunity to get inside and discover the Vocabulary Vault. Yesterday, actually, I contacted all the members. I think we've already got 3,000 people in the vault because I've updated it. So there are 3 new topics: animals, shopping, and what was the other one? Animals, shopping, and there's another one that slipped my mind. And I've added a visualization, a new visualization. So there are new topics in there with the quizzes and the stories. Once you're in, you get the updates automatically. Okay. Burns has just put the link in there. Thank you so much for that, Burns. That's great. So you can check that out, and yes, you can sort it out there. Great, that's it. The Vocabulary Vault. Use the coupon code CHEAP and you can get it today. Okay, excellent. I don't have a reading course at the moment. Hospitals, that was it. Thank you so much. I forgot. Thank you, George. You're obviously a member, right? Okay, we have got, what's next? Well, before we finish up, we've got Kahoot. Let's do it. Let's play a game of Kahoot to finish up on today's lesson. Kahoot. Let me just log in. If you don't know how to play this, then basically you need to come with me. Let me show you. We're going to log into into my Kahoot library. You can come with me. We're going to play the Neighbours game. I'm going to host it live. You need to go to kahoot.it. We can go in the classic mode. You can also download the app, Kahoot app. But if you go to kahoot.it, put in the game PIN 980280 and also your name, and then we can start to play. Farjana, you want to purchase the grammar course, Vocabulary Vault? You can buy both of them, yes. Use the code for the Vocabulary Vault. Wow, Amal, that's great to hear. You passed in 2021. You still watch the live lessons. Wow, fantastic. So pleased to hear that. Thank you. So the PIN 980280. Put your name in. Townhouses has joined. Great. Maria Jose for the next live lesson. Well, so the next public YouTube live lesson is 10 o'clock. It's always 10 o'clock. If you're talking about the gold course, so the gold course has a live lesson next week. That's at 12 p.m. Yes. Okay, I'll just give you a few seconds to join. Almost there. Yeah, thanks, Burns. Next live lesson, 5th of December, for the public one, yes. Okay, we're about to start. I can see questions about the next live lessons. Just to let you know, the next public live lesson is the 5th of December. They are always at 10 a.m. The next gold live lesson is not free. If you're in the gold course, then that's next week and that's at 12 p.m. Okay. If you've not joined the gold course, come and join us. You have 2 extra live lessons each month. Okay, let's dive into Kahoot. Let's start on the first question. You have to choose the right answer. You get a choice of 4. Let's go. Roblox Paradise, you're right. Question number 1. I bump my neighbours now and again. On, into, against, or to. I bump blank my neighbours now and again. On, into, against, or to. You get 30 seconds. The answer is into. Look at that. Oh, most of you got it right. To bump into my neighbours. Okay, you can't bump on. If you bump against, you could say bump against, but that means physically bump. You're bumping or knocking your neighbour. But to meet by chance, of course, is to bump into. Well done. Let's check out. Oh, what's happened here? Let's check out. Oh, I see what's happened. Yeah, it's on full screen. That's why it went a bit bizarre. So, quite rightly, townhouses is at the top. Next door is next door. And the neighbour is number 3. Question number 2. I have never crossed blank with her before. Streets, ways, paths or routes. I have never crossed blank with her before. Streets, ways, paths or routes. What do you think? You've got 30 seconds. The answer, 33 of you got it right. It's paths, to cross paths. The others don't work here. Of course, you can say to cross the street. I cross the street. But when I cross somebody, I cross paths with that person. Well done, all of you guys. Where are we? Oh, there's a big change. The neighbour is at the top. Next door is next door. And Nels is in third place. Excellent, good. Kiamaka, I can see you've got your test next week. Good luck with that. Well done. Here we go. Next. Question number 3. He's not very sociable. He prefers to blank himself to himself. Stay, be, have, or keep. He's not very sociable. He prefers to blank himself to himself. Stay, be, have, or keep. Yeah, well done. Keep himself to himself, right? To stay alone, be on his own. It's to keep. You can't say to be himself or have himself stay. No, to keep himself. Let's check in the scores. Wow, everything has changed. Eisenbash, number 1. Vina 55 is up in second, and Somo is up in third. Okay, it's the last question. My neighbours are great. We always blank together if someone needs help. Be, put, pull, or help. My neighbours are great. We always blank together if someone needs help. Be, put, pull, or help. Yeah, well done, you guys. It's pull together. You could say we are always together, but not we always be. We always help. No, help someone, yes. But here it's pull together, meaning, of course, working in a team to do something, to pull together. Remember the picture? Pull to get her. Pull together. So, the moment of truth. Who is going to be the winner? Let's find out. Podium time. Third place. Harry, well done. You moved up. Well done indeed. Somo, you got into second. Meaning? Eisenbasher, you came in right at the end. And you stole the show. Wow, absolutely amazing. Well done. Last minute surprises. Very, very good. Well, that's it, guys. We have come to the end of 2 hours. If you've been with me for 2 hours, gosh, hats off. Well done. Brilliant. Nice bit of work. Remember this PDF of today's? I mean, we've been looking at the PDF here. You can get that on the website. It's in the Keith Speaking Academy, right? If you remember. Go to the Keith Speaking Academy. Go to the free live lessons area, and you can get that. This will be uploaded soon, the PDF and the new video. It'll take a few hours, but just bear with me and then you can get that. Also, if you want to carry on studying, go and check out the courses and go and check out the Vocabulary Vault and go in here and then you can find out more about it. And when you go to join, just remember, use the code CHEAP. We have a 12-hour promotion up until midnight tonight to get the vocabulary vault. Just use the code CHEAP. And that's it. Today, I hope you've enjoyed today's class. We've covered quite a lot, right? I mean, we've been looking at the topic of November, the topic of neighbours. Slow down, Keith. We've looked at vocabulary, neighbour, neighbourhood, close proximity. We've moved on and done a listening bingo, practicing your skills, identifying words. Remember all about guessing and then using the guessing to listen. It was something like that. I need to copyright it. Idioms, we've been looking at this one, like to look out for someone, to take care of someone. We've also done a dad joke, which was terrible, about losing your socks and getting cold feet. Teaching you English all the time. And the interview with our AI neighbour, the gym coach, who was telling us about his experiences with neighbours. And well done finally to the winners of the Kahoot. And it was Isan Basha. Well done for winning that today. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always. Our next lessons, as my wonderful assistant Burns said, the next public live lesson is December. That's 10 a.m. If you're in the gold course, we get a live lesson next week and the week after. So the 14th of November, but that's at 12 p.m. next week. Come and join the gold course. You get lots of extra live lessons and lots more to boot as well. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me. It's been wonderful to see you here. And that's it. We're going to finish up. What are we going to finish up on? Let's finish up with a song. Let me introduce a new song to you. If I can find it. It was here somewhere. I'm going to finish up with a song. This is a new one because this song, some of you may know if you're in the gold course that we have a podcast in the gold course called Watchful Eyes, based on a story. We've had part 1, part 2. Part 3 is coming out soon. And this is the song from the part 3, which is coming soon. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for being with me. Take care. Go to the website, Keith Speaking Academy, and click on the courses. Look for the gold course.
David threatens with money to clean, blackmails me behind the scene. Oh, with watchful eyes he set me up. Starts anew, new dress, new boy, new life in view. She's moved on, but in my heart I wonder if we could restart. Oh, with watchful eyes he set me up.
First day, great.
But Emily's here, I won't give up. No, 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 no. David's in chains
Thanks,
and I lose it all. The restaurant's closed, but I stand tall. Emily's here, but can we be free? The future's unclear. What will it be? Oh, with watchful eyes he set me up.
And you too, made you.
Oh, but Emily's here.
Music sung by Gabby Gotts, brilliant singer. Lyrics by me. Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care. See you all soon. Bye-bye.